welcome to today's episode. Woo! I tried to hide myself. Well, all right, here we go. This is Valencia, guys. This is my daughter, so she is going to be my assistant today for today's breaking news. So today, some crazy stuff we found out. You guys probably seen the title. Buyers brokers are now being required to sign compensation agreements with their clients in order to be paid or to go through a deal. It's going to be law as of July 1st, 2024. Now, I might have said before where, hold on one moment for me. I might have said before where I was going to make a presentation and, try and make a bunch of stuff, but things happened so quickly today that, I wasn't able to, but tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the actual email I received so you guys can see it. So let me try and pull that up here. Yep. And in the meantime, tell them about the weather. It was warm today. All right, so let's do this thing. Like I said, I'm going to pull up that email right now that I received because I haven't had that ability to make that slideshow, but it's pretty crazy. July 1st. So what it seems like people are going to do most likely is that they're going to start, trying to do it as a seller concessions to the seller. But in that, what if, hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing? So with that being said, what's going to happen to the market? I mean, is that going to raise lower interest rates? Is that going to be easier for people to buy houses or harder? To me, what that tells me is, okay, now you got additional closing costs, right? If you hand it over to the seller and being able to pay that bill, what they're probably going to ask for the price to be raised. Now you got an appraisal issue possibly, right? And maybe the lenders come out with something where they're going to start providing some type of initial deal, because if you think about it, a lot of your guys' loans are capped at 3% or 6% seller concessions. For some of these homes, especially in Gary, Indiana, you're talking about, like a $50,000 home. That's going to be a good amount. I don't know off the top of my head how much the 6% would be. And this is my trusty assistant, Valencia. She is focused on surveying the surroundings for real estate knowledge, catch it, right? But anyways, okay, here we go. So I'm going to open this up. Let's see if I can share my screen. Present. Okay, share screen sharing. And boom. All right, let me know when you guys see it. I'm sure it's coming up here. But boom. Look at this. All right, so let's see. Maybe that's a better way of doing it. So I'm going to open this up. All right. So managing broker advisory. So this is the Indiana Association of Realtors. Every state has their own association, and then there's a national one. This stuff gets real political, guys. I mean, it's crazy. But Governor Holcomb in Indiana had just signed this agreement. I mean, let's see. February 29th, we were advised that he would be signing, right? And now he's officially signed this HEA 1068 bill. And so what did that include? That included a list of different things, right? So here's some different language here regarding the brokerage, broker agreement. So creates a minimum requirement for written buyer's agencies agreement. It becomes law effectively July 1st, 2024. And this is what's going to be added to the contracts, guys. You're going to start to see this added into, your brokerages, contracts, whether it's a purchase agreement, whether it's their, exclusive. And this is the thing, right? So we don't have contracts as of yet that are particular to this. I mean, yes, we have the exclusive buyer's agency agreement, but my following, you guys are investors. You know what I mean? Who wants to be secured and tied down to one person when there's a slew of people that can help you? And I recognize that. I'm not going to be selfish. I'm going to be, hey, how do we make this work for you guys? So now all these brokerages are going to go have to seek out attorneys to have them contract and make a contract for them that appeals to the full range of clientele, right? Anyway, so key points for brokers. So a lot of this isn't necessarily apparent to you guys, but it's good to know because this is going to be the essence of why they're doing it. For the most part, it protects that compensation, right? Why would you need to protect that compensation? Because there's this constant, the whole reason of this argument. Let's take a few steps back, right? What is going on as far as why is there a requirement to have a buyer's agency agreement? Well, because the National Association of Realtors had gotten sued regarding this lawsuit from, I don't know exactly what the entities were, but it was a few multiple entities that had hired lawyers to sue, saying, hey, it's not fair for us as homeowners to hire an agent and they're going to hire somebody to essentially talk smack against our own house and try and get us to get less. That's not fair. But in the essence, right, part of the agent culture had always been, hey, I'm going to get 6%, let's say. I'm going to get 6%, and then this other agent's going to help me on the deal. I'm going to break him into it, 6%, I'll keep 3.5, I give you 2.5. And that's always been the culture, right? But now we're talking about a different dynamic. We're talking about now, hey, I'm not worried about you as the buyer's agent. And hey, you want to come to me as a listing agent, and you think that's better? I'm still going to have you sign a buyer's agency agreement. You're still going to have to pay me. There's no avoiding this. Everyone is doing this. Everyone is going to get affected by this. It's going to be crazy. So, what's going to happen? My initial thought is, what are the lenders going to do about this, right? Because us as agents, that's part of the, laws change all the time. We can make things work. But what about the first-time home buyers? What about the people that are on a down payment assistance? Sorry. All right. Come on. Ooh, there you go. Uh-oh. All right. All right. Hold on. One brief moment. Hold on 1 minute. And it was a good idea in hindsight. Okay, we're back. She had seen some deals that weren't being taken care of, so she had to go handle that. So thank you for your support. But anyways, so let's get back to this. This is crazy because to me, the lenders are going to be the persons that are really going to take a hit here, because what's going to happen is this getting rolled into the loan. Probably not. They're already saying in this right here that it's going to be part of closing costs. That's a big difference in closing costs. You were worried about 6%. Now you got to worry about potentially $3,500. A lot of these brokerages have minimums of flat rates. Yeah, they'll say 3%, but then they'll have a minimum saying, oh, hey, Jason, I just seen your, all states, you will be doing this. Yeah. So this is something that other states have already implemented, and this will be eventually something that goes nationwide. It just depends on the lawsuit. Apparently we're settling, or something with our government is saying, hey, you know what? We're not in this fight no more. We're going to do it this way, and, that's at least for Indiana, but there's already some states that have implemented this. What's to come, right? What's to come? Really, it's going to be interesting to see what happens to the first-time home buyers. What happens to the people on down payment assistance? What happens to the investors that are flipping properties, and now every single one of them is, getting requested to pay for a buyer's broker agreement, but they're signing a listing contract that says they only have to pay the listing agent. So now you're having battles back and forth. Some people believe it's not going to change much. You know what I mean? Some people believe it's going to be a drastic difference. To me, in my opinion, I think this makes it 10 times harder for new buyers, people that are new to, whether it's investing, whether it's your first time purchasing, whether you're on down payments or any other assistance program, makes it 10 times harder, because who's going to cover this amount in closing costs? You know what I mean? And closing costs is always paid at closing, right? That's why they call it closing costs. It's your down payment and closing costs, title fees, and government fees and things like that. Now your broker's fees, right? So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. Hey, what's up, guys? I see Senya's here. We got Jason here, and we got Mitch here. Hey, thanks so much for joining. Hey, so it's so interesting, right? So let's keep looking at this. Let's see here. Oh, and I just realized that you guys can't see me. So let's see if I can pop myself back on there. All right. There we go, I think. I think you guys can see this now, right? Yep. Okay. So let's keep looking. So it looks like, what are the benefits, right? Obviously, the benefits for the broker is to secure compensation, but is that really securing compensation? You're making it a hell of a lot more difficult. Now we got to for sure say we're making a broker's agreement. Honestly, I mean, you guys, I've been working with you guys for a while. I've did some deals with some of you guys. I never once pulled out a buyer's agency agreement, because that agreement is saying, hey, you only work with me. That's not fair. You guys are in the industry of making money. You guys are in the industry of investing. So now what's going to happen? Now I got to go and hire an attorney to draw up a document that not only fits this, but also fits for all the criteria of people, Or the second thing is, and what you'll probably see from most of the brokers, is that they pull out that exclusive that says, oh, you can only work with me. Because from a broker's position, right? Like, they love the fact that, hey, I'm only going to be able to work with you, right? And they like that security. Hey, it doesn't matter if you produce a good product, if you're able to offer a good service, that's all that matters, right? So, I mean, what's to come, guys? I talked with one of my lenders today, and he specializes in investments. And you know what? We had a lender on here the other day. I'm going to try and get one that is like focused specifically on our niche, right? I also have a tremendous tax professional that's investing in Gary. He's going to be joining the group here really soon. He's amazing, and we're going to try and get him on here. He's going to give us some tax advice, some tax incentives, and he knows the area of Gary pretty well, I believe. So let's see here. So this is essentially the same thing that I'm telling you guys, the same thing I handed out on our communities. If you're not part of the communities, definitely join our Discord and our WhatsApp. If you can't find it, let me know, send me a message or add in the comments. I'll make sure that all of you guys get access. So anyways, let's see here. So, I mean, this thing is a developing thing, right? So we don't know the full parameters around what's going to happen. We just know the gist. The gist is very simple. It's very straightforward. We are now, from July 1st, going to require everyone to do a buyer's agency agreement. And, yeah. So yeah, Senya, I see that, actually you were one of the first people that mentioned that. So that was great help. If you guys ever have an idea on what you want to see, I'll go ahead and put it together. So we're going to definitely get a chance to talk to the tax professional guy. And it'll be interesting, man. I want to see what are we missing, but the gist is now there's going to be this buyer's cost, right? Now everything that you once thought of, right, is now going to be a little bit more expensive. Can you push it on the seller? Yes, but that's also going to maybe inflate the price or create some type of alternative negotiation. You inflate the price, there's appraisal gap, right? Like if you appraise it too much, you know what I mean? Like now people are going to have to be aware. So there's going to be this battle, right? And it's going to be a change. I see, in my opinion, that this community of people coming from Chicago, because that's our largest crowd coming in into Northwest Indiana, is your people coming from Chicago because they can't afford to pay for prices in Chicago. And so what I think is going to happen is we're going to get all those people coming from Chicago looking for lower prices, and now we're hitting them with a fatter bill. It might be a slowdown. There's a slowdown. That's a shift in the market. There's a shift in the market. As you guys, for investors, that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Because what does that mean? That means our interest rates are maybe, I'm not a professional, but I'm not a professional in a mortgage or analytics or economy, but maybe it comes down. Maybe it takes a solid hit. It might not hit right away, but you're talking about July here, right? What happens through this industry? This industry is a seasonal industry. And, Oh, can you guys see the full thing? I think you guys can see the full thing. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about a season. Hey, what's up, Davis? But yeah, we're talking about a seasonal industry here, right? So July is the heat of the moment. I mean, from anywhere from February, March, I would say the market starts heating up, right? You're full on into it when you're in April, right? Because that's right after the spring break. That's right after everybody files their taxes, and then somewhere in May to June is when those tax returns start coming in, and I think June is our peak season. So you're talking as soon as July starts, in the middle of the heat of our production in real estate, we're going to have this implementation. Now that's going to, if that does slow down anything, even if it slows down a little bit, think of the rest of the year. We have the fall coming up, right? We have those are things where people stop wanting to look. People start preparing for the winter. People start preparing for holidays and things around the corner, because you're going to have those slew of holidays, right? You're going to have buyers in restriction, people not looking. It's good for you guys as investors, because you guys are always looking. You're always trying to get a deal. So in my opinion, personally, what I think is going to happen is that you're going to see interest rates drop a little bit. That's in my opinion. Will they be dramatic? Maybe not. I don't know. Depends on how hard of a transition that we go through with this. There will be more stuff to come every day. But we knew this was coming. We heard about it. We knew that it was in the works. We didn't know who was going to win. Remax settled. I think they settled for I want to say $18 million or something like that. And they're out of the picture. They're like, hey, we don't want to squabble. We just want to, do our thing. So if this is what I'm getting sued for, then okay, here's the check. But the other ones, they've been fighting. They've been fighting to say, hey, that's not fair. You're trying to sue us because we were giving commissions to buyers, brokers for, I think the max length of time you can sue someone. I might be mistaken. I'm not an attorney, but is 7 years or something like that. But I understand, for the past 7 years, we're getting sued for all buyers, brokers commission handed out. And that is a tall bill when you're talking about the nation and what's happened in the last 7 years. I mean, especially with COVID, everybody was buying during COVID. You know what I mean? It was nuts. 2.5% interest rates. Why would you not do that? So it's going to be interesting. There's no avoiding this. I think that, I wonder if you guys can see me scroll up and down. I believe you guys can, but on my screen, it's showing that it's not. But anyways, there's no avoiding this. Everyone's going to go through with it. Eventually, the whole United States is going to be on the same plan. We're just seeing this now with Northwest Indiana and Indiana in general. So we're going to keep trucking. We're going to keep rolling. We're going to end up powering through this process. It's going to be fine, guys, but prepare. I think that there's going to be a major shift. I think that, let's study the other markets. What happened to the markets that actually, implemented this? I mean, technically, I heard that Chicago and Illinois had always been doing these buyers exclusive agencies, but I don't think it was a requirement. Not until now. I mean, in Indiana, it wasn't a requirement until now. So it's going to be interesting, guys. It's going to be really interesting. Hey, there was also a mention about, and let me take this off real quick. So, yeah, Jason, I just seen your message here. So was charging way more for closing costs. So the lawsuit was really focused on, and that could possibly be a different lawsuit. I can't speak on if that's a different lawsuit. That could be, right? But the lawsuit was focused on the factor of a seller or homeowner paying for an agent to oppose their property. And that's where they felt it was unfair. They said, hey, you're telling me I'm giving you this 6% or this, and I say 6% loosely, all right? There's no standardized percentage, but I'm giving you this 6%. And part of that is to pay for the person that's going to try and get this, trying to pose what I want for the property, trying to lower the price or negotiate down or trying to, figure out an alternative. Sometimes some people, I mean, you investors know you're buying properties for, wholesale prices, and, just to just to realize that, the homeowner is like, oh, I'm paying an agent, to oppose and help this investor get a better price on my property. So that's pretty much what the gist was of that lawsuit. And fair enough. But why was it such a controversy? Because technically that 6% was commission owed to agents, right? Whatever that agent wants to do with that money is their prerogative. And that agent, our culture and our stance on it is, hey, you get that money, you split it with the other agent. That's fair, and you get to set that number. Some people are, let me talk about a couple of, like, I'm not going to say names, right? But I know a couple of agents out there that they've been doing something like this, but forcing it as a listing agent's perspective, right? So what I'm saying is, if you were to be the homeowner, I'm going to write a listing with you and I say, hey, I'll do 6%, commissions. And, you're like, yeah, cool, sure. And we get under contract. I put up your listing. And then what am I offering the buyer's agent? $1, right? Well, okay, so now you got an issue. What happens when you shift commissions like that? And this might be you. What happens with this situation, right? I don't know if it's going to be a factor. Nobody really knows the full parameters around what's going to happen in Indiana specifically. But we can always reflect. I'd love to reflect on a different market and what they did. And in fact, yeah, I don't have time to look it up on here. Next time, I'll make sure to look at different markets that had already implemented that. That might be what I do tomorrow, but I'm going to try and get a tax professional and a lender and get more people to speak on this, because this is going to be a huge shift. You're talking about a lot of money here. So what I was trying to say earlier, and, forgive me for losing my train of thought there, is that people would go out and do this, where they would create a listing contract, present a percentage price, and then they'd be like, hey, buyer's agent, you could, here's $1. Well, what happens in that term? Well, it's a real quick way to make enemies in this industry, right? And the client is only as the client can be extremely knowledgeable and intellectual, but if they have an agent that is giving resistance or might not know what they're doing, it can be an influence on whether or not they do a deal or don't. So that being said, right, oftentimes these people that were offering $1 were getting, I want to say almost like blackballed, right? They're like, hey, that house, they're only paying $1. You like these 3 other houses? You know what? Hey, this other house is good because of this, and this other house is good because of that. They're like, no, but what about this house on the $1? And it's like, well, it's like, this is a good house, but, and it's unfortunate, but it's the truth of what happens, right? Me, myself, I am always honest and upfront. That's part of one of my core values, is that it's authentic. My 3 core values is authenticity, right? Innovation, and ambition. Ambition, that's the third one. So authenticity, innovation, and ambition. Those are my 3 core values that I hold near and dear to my heart. But some people aren't the same. Some people, they're in this for the money. They're trying, some agents make a good amount of money, and some are hustlers, just like how there can be investors that are slumlords and professionals, you know what I mean? So that can be a factor, you know what I mean? It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Definitely buckle down. I would definitely prepare in case there's a major shift. And if not, then, there's not. But if you want to play, play in the market, right, I would definitely prepare, because we don't know for a fact if something's going to happen. But I can say that this is definitely going to stop a lot of buyers from buying. I got to pay a $3,500 bill now. I got to pay, 3% of the total value of my property, and my property, is, and I shouldn't even say percentages. I say flat fees a lot because most brokerages go by flat fees, right? It won't just be, hey, 3%. It'll be 3%, but not less than $2,500, $3,500, right? So who's going to eat that? First-time home buyers, down payment assistance? Nope. They're definitely not going to take that hit. I think that, I truly think that. I think, what else? Oh, wholesalers. So there was a mention about wholesaling. So wholesalers are going through a battle in and of themselves, right? They are, they have a war on them with realtors, right? Realtors are coming after them hard. And what it is essentially, Can you split the cost between the buyer and seller? I mean, yeah, there are ways to negotiate that, but what happens in turn, right? What happens in turn is that that's a seller concession. That is probably going to be into a position of renegotiation, right? If that inflates the price, like I said earlier, it could be an issue of how much does that inflate the price? Maybe there's a way to work around it. How do you prepare for it? I mean, you guys as investors, I think you're going to, in my opinion, I think you're going to see a lot of people asking for seller concessions. I think definitely expecting, hey, we know that we're going to go into this. We know that there's going to be these fees. We have to prepare. And, that is a good question. I mean, seller concessions is my first and probably main way that I would go. Now, check with your lender to be sure. If you're paying cash, then who cares? But, your lender is going to be the one that dictates. And the seller concessions is probably the main way it's said in here that people are going to go. But again, what's going to happen with the loan? What's going to happen? Is that 3%? Is that more than 3% that you're asking? So I would definitely consider, and I'll get you better answers for how to prepare properly for that. We might even do a full episode on how to take advantage of when this market shifts. I'll do a little bit more research, but I wanted to have this quick meeting because I wanted to inform you guys of what I'm seeing here and how intense it's going to be, because it's going to be intense. I mean, you're taking out an entire market of buyers, essentially. It's no longer going to be this plethora of buyers coming in from Chicago. That's our main source right now. Our main source is this plethora coming in, being first-time home buyers because they've been paying for a $4,000 apartment, for the past few months. Or maybe they own property over there and they're going to come here being like, hey, we get less taxes a year. And then they have to worry about a transfer tax, right? That transfer tax is pennies on the dollar, like 50 cents, for every $1,000 the property is worth or something like that. Over here, they're going to have to worry about, hey, oh, by the way, you're stuck with the bill of the broker, right? Now, could you not use a broker and just go and work out the deal yourself? Oh, yeah, you can. But expect that listing agent to still write you a compensation agreement. There's not going to be avoiding that, especially if there's an agent involved. And why would you not want to use an agent? Hey, what's up? How you doing, man? It's Chad. How you doing, Chad? Thank you for joining us. Hey, so how are you gonna avoid that? I definitely think there's going to be a shift, and it's going to take out a good amount of buyers. Good shift for you guys. But I definitely recommend you guys check in with me tomorrow. I'm going to probably have more information on how to prepare for this. Maybe, actually give me, I'm going to take a few days in order to be able to really research it, because I want to create a package of understanding how do you prepare for it? What are the advantages that you can do in this position of, okay, I'm going to probably either take the hit or I'm going to ask for the seller to pay for it. What are alternative ways? Seller financing is definitely a way. You know what I mean? Creative financing are opportunities to make these certain deals work. But this is all dependent on the fact of if you can get a seller to work with you directly or work with you with an agent who's going to end up using this. There's a lot of questions in the air. You know what I mean? Of what could happen. So ultimately, guys, I'd prepare by saying, hey, let's get our deals now while we don't have to pay for them. You got from March to July 1st. And then once July 1st happens, that's when we're going to have to see, okay, what are we looking at? February 29th, like I said, just last month was when we were taking this seriously. Just signed to yesterday, I believe. Late last night, we got confirmation from this email. And, July 1st. I'll get more information for you guys, but today we're going to cut it short. I wish I had more information for you guys. Thank you so much for coming every month or every day. If there's any information that you guys have, or if there's any questions that you guys have, let me know. Okay. But definitely, I would recommend stack it up as much as you can up until July 1st, because then you'll have to pay this other bill that's going to be a significant difference. Like I said again, guys, I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much for checking in with me, and hope this was helpful. All right. Bye-bye.